as the Bicolanos and supporters as the partial unofficial tally for the presidential race nears 100%. Our Anjo Alimario is in Naga City. Anjo, what did Robredo say?
Accept the final result of the elections. Yeah, that's the appeal of Vice President Leni Robredo to her fellow Bicolanos as they fill the Naga Metropolitan Cathedral tonight. And as she was explaining to them, she said acceptance, she says that through acceptance, a bigger strength may come in to unite themselves. Speaking in Bicolano, Robredo points out that there will be bigger fights and it doesn't end with the elections. She says the fight was not only to win, but be part of a better government. Interestingly, she notes she doesn't consider this as a loss because they have achieved many things during the election season. On reported irregularities during yesterday's polls, she says they're currently consulting with experts to study these allegations being spread online and on social media, and once done, they will share the results to the public. Now, if there's a silver lining in all of this, she says she will have more time to come home in Camarines Sur. Her final message to her supporters: do not regret every effort, every sacrifice. She knows that they did everything. And Pia, from that speech alone, you can already sense from that tone that she herself is already at peace regardless of the outcome of the elections. She has always said that she gave it her all. And meanwhile, there's a separate pasasalamat for her supporters in Metro Manila on the 13th, Pia.
Anjo, a while ago, I was speaking to Myla Villanueva, chair of PPCRV, and she did address that issue of the patterns, variants. She was saying that she had invited different math experts from different universities, and so far, as of this evening, they have not found anything.
Well, that's interesting, Pia, and I don't know if that's the same experts that the Robredo camp has been consulting with, but definitely we will relay that information to them, and as to how soon will they release that result of their so-called consultation with these experts to really verify, to vet all these allegations spreading, of course, on social media. Of course, Robredo already appealing to her supporters to accept the result of the elections.
Anjo Alimario there, reporting live from Naga in Camarines Sur. Still with us, former presidential spokesperson Edwin Lasherda, political consultant. Edwin, a while ago, sinabi na nga ni Myla no, na yun na nga, yung wala pa silang nakikita. Another important thing that came up during the campaign was this Google Trends. No? Right. So a lot of people, kasi were saying, oh, we have surveys, but meron kaming problema sa survey kasi medyo parang bakit si BBM ang leading. So tingnan na lang natin tong Google Trends na to. Was that did that help the campaign or did that make things worse?
I think the purpose of the survey really is it's a tool that is most beneficial for the campaign team itself, not the people. Because the reason for the survey is, apart from the number, the horse race, the figures, that's not the most important thing. If you're a member of the campaign team, you're looking at the meat, the substance of, for instance, where are the numbers, where are we growing, where are we not, where are we lagging behind, what things did we do at this particular survey period that did us well, that did us badly. So those are the things that hinihimayan eh. If your tendency is to refer to Google Trends and say, malakas tayo and all that, well and good. But that depends on how you interpret it. But ano yung substance nun? Anong sinasabi ng Google Trends that the surveys tell us? Remember that a survey, it's a very direct question. Sino ang binoto mo?
Right.
On Google Trends, it's searching for the name. At the very least, at the minimum, it indicates awareness and increased interest. Now, some people would equate increase of awareness or interest as conversion. And that's where the problem is, because Google Trends is fundamentally sentiment agnostic. If I search your name, Pia Ontiveros, it doesn't mean anything except that, sino ba itong si Pia Ontiveros? It doesn't say, uy, gusto ko siya, uy, kakainis siya. It's really sentiment agnostic.
Yeah.
So, but, when you look at Google Trends, and they themselves say, we're not a pollcaster, and the people who use Google Trends, they come up with their own rules for AI. So you draw it, and they have their own rules. The algorithms yan eh. Ikaw magagawa ng rules. You set the rules. And depending on the rules, itong lalabas na resulta. And so what we're seeing is, mukhang iba ang na-predict ng Google Trends, or at least those who are using the data on Google Trends, and it didn't come out that Lenny won. The thing lang with the survey was one thing was serious, and the reason for the variance is maybe perhaps hindi nakukuha ng Google Trends ang DNE. Kasi sila ba ay nagsa-search in the first place? Ano bang ginagamit nila? What do they use Google search for in the first place? But clearly, because malaki ang DNE class sa Google, sa Pulse Asia, it confirmed what we're seeing right now in the elections. Because we're fundamentally malaki ang ating DNE class. And that's the only reason why tama si survey at nagkulang si Google Trends.
Tama si survey at nagkulang si Google Trends, or tama si survey at mali si Google Trends?
At mali si Google Trends. At least dito sa bansa natin.
Sa bansa natin, yeah. Okay, final words, Edwin, before we let you go. We are gonna let Edwin go na ba? Yeah? We have to, yeah.
I think, the report from Bicol was, at least maganda yung sinabi ni VP Lenny.
Mas klaro pa yon.
It was clear, accept the results of the election, we can do better things, we can do more things apart from the election proper itself. Kasi she has, raised the passion of the people, make them more civic conscious, and maraming pwedeng gawin after the election. So that's why the passion should not end dito sa election lang. Let's harness it. Let's turn our rage, our anger, our frustration, our denial, the 5 stages of grief into something positive. And that's what we're looking at. And maybe on Thursday, when she addresses the supporters, it will be something... Friday. If she addresses the supporters on Friday, maybe that's something we can see some good out of that and continue this whole movement of good governance, transparency, and accountability. Hindi nagtatapos ang laban ni Lenny at ng taong bayan.
Edwin Lasherda, thank you very much for being here. I was going to say, I hope we see you again. Bukas ulit. That was Thursday, this Friday na naman. You're becoming a regular here. Thank you so much, Edwin.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this very quick break. Stay with us.
SMC San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
Welcome back to Politics as Usual. I'm Pion Tiveros. It is the day after May 9, 2022. Here to give us more insights on the Marcos Duterte campaign is a political consultant and former advertising bigwig, advertising executive Greg Garcia. Hi, Sir Greg. Thank you very much for joining us. You have this smile on your face.
Good evening. No, you said some nice things about me, so.
So you're smiling. Okay. All right. You weren't surprised with the results, right? You were expecting this. Well, the surveys were very clear.
Very clear, yeah. It wasn't a surprise, really. The
Okay.
numbers came out the way it was. From the start naman, since last year, a lot of pollsters and experts have said that Lenny had a cap of 20%, so pretty much stayed there,
Yeah, okay. Well,
The opposition, sorry,
yeah, the
not
opposition.
necessarily Lenny, the opposition, yeah.
All right. A while ago, I was speaking with Edwin Lasciardi here in the studio. So, napag-usapan namin Google Trends, and he was saying there really was a problem with using Google Trends. Also, napag-usapan itong sinasabing variants or patterns, no? And Myra Villanueva of PPCRV herself addressed it, saying that she invited math experts over, and they're looking at all these numbers, and so far, she says, they have not seen anything. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I really think the opposition have to, in a sense, they have to face reality. The numbers are just too wide as predicted, and if I were them, I'd, just pull back and start planning already for the next election, and really review where did we go wrong. It was very clear naman from the start where they were going wrong, but they just did not. I'm guessing they did not admit. Hindi nila pinansin yung mga comments, and I'm really surprised, and maybe it gives credit to the saying, too many cooks may spoil the broth.
Spoil the broth.
Maybe there were too many cooks in the campaign. I don't know, but I heard there were many cooks really.
How many? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But
I mean, they said that the entire film community, production community, creative community, And when there are two creatives there and they're fighting, patay ka na, as they say.
Okay. So when you say that so many things went wrong, can we go over what happened? I mean, I guess this would be a very good masterclass, if you will, on political campaigns, no? In terms of messaging, ano yung naging problema ng Lenny campaign?
Okay, let's start from the beginning. One, every election you must define it. Is it a continuity election or a change election? You start with that, no? When you know it's a continuity election, then you gotta play and do another game and not be a change message. So I was surprised that they never even considered that, I think. Second, look at the message. Sa tapat na, tapat ba, whatever.
Sa gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat.
Gobyernong tapat. Was that a problem? Are there data to show that people did not consider this government as tapat?
They did not.
Precisely, but when you look at the numbers of Duterte, it's high. So to me, tapat wasn't the problem, So why were they using that when it is not perceived as a problem of the people? At the end of the day, it's the people you're talking to,
Mm-hmm.
And the people you say, tapat, gobyernong tapat, and they say, tapat naman to, ah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, there was a disconnect, I think, in the messaging, And I think it wasn't just that. They did come up with a lot of lines. They had this Rosas ang bukas. They were...
Kulay rosas ang bukas. Kulay rosas ang bukas.
Yeah, they were so esoteric, Whereas when you look at the BBM campaign, it was so single-minded, They knew that unity was important. They knew that the country was coming from a pandemic. They don't people don't like trouble. They just want to get back to normal. Mm-hmm. And when you see people fighting, or people, kumbaga sa kalye, ayaw mo na makakita ng mga sanggano, Pag nakakita ka ng sanggano, medyo matatakot ka, Ba't nag-aaway pa hanggang ngayon?
Well, that's the same thing that Edwin Lasciardi has been bringing up since yesterday, na dun sa mga FGD, sa focus group discussions, ayaw talaga ng tao ng yung combative, nag-aaway, nang-aaway.
Yeah. Okay. Tama yun. Yun. Basagulero, Ayaw ng mga tao ng basagulero. So, to me, and then to me personally, from a, just a perspective of communications, when you impose a color and you impose lines like tayo, kakampi tayo, you are really being exclusive. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of kick out the other people, not you, Sabi ko nga, and I hope this is not taken negatively. It reminds me of the Ku-Klux-Klan,
Oh my goodness.
I know, don't take it negatively.
Ang daming magagalit sa inyo, Sir.
No, that's right. Don't get angry. I'm not saying you are.
Yeah.
I'm just saying psychologically, it's a clique, Uh-huh. They define themselves as a clique. Sorry if it was a harsh description, but I think, just to make it clear, that's how it comes out in terms of communications, Mm-hmm. You just can't, you have to be all-inclusive. It can't be exclusive,
Yeah.
So
well, they did try to be inclusive, and they said tao sa tao, puso sa puso. Wasn't that working?
Words are great, but you are judged by your action, Just like in any piece of advertising, you may say it, but it's not resonating because they don't see that. It's like a product promising something but not delivering. So it's not gonna work. There's got to be some synergy between the advertising and the product, whatever it is that you want them to get out of the messaging that you have. So I really think, in a sense, sayang talaga, could have been a better fight, as they kumbaga sa boxing. Could have been a closer fight. But I really think they did not go out of their way to try to convert people. I think Edwin Lasherda said that earlier. You've got to go out, convert people. The first question you should ask is, if we are 20%, where will our votes come from? Obviously, it will come from the BBM votes. So therefore, you have to court the BBM voters.
Well,
How do you do
that is what they try to do, Sir Greg, hindi ba? Ang sabi nga nila, they need to educate BBM voters para malaman nila what was wrong with martial law, etc.
There you go. The opening line pala, I will educate you, is already a turn-off. I think they should have been more sensitive to the feelings of people. Sabi ko nga, if I were to really, if I can turn back the hands of time, I would have taken up anthropology in college. It gives you a better understanding of people talaga and the culture. You cannot communicate from your point of view. It is always to be from the point of view of the person you're talking to. I think they were communicating from their own point of view, believing that everybody was like them. It's so difficult if you make a conclusion that everybody should be like me. That's fatal when you say everybody should think like me. It's not. People don't think like you. And in this world of this election, only 20% of people had the same kind of thinking. You have to get the votes from somewhere else. They should have been more sensitive to the feelings of the people who are for BBM, because these are the people that they would have converted sana to go to the red camp.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Sir Greg Garcia, political consultant and executive advertising bigwig. Salamat, Sir Greg. Bongbong Marcos has yet to claim victory in the presidential race. That's despite his huge lead against his rival, VP Leni Robredo. Our correspondent Rex Remigio is at the Marcos campaign headquarters here in Mandaluyong City. Rex, why is Mr. Marcos not claiming victory yet?
Well, what happened in the 2016 vice presidential elections has something to do with how they see things now. Marcos was leading at least by a small margin at a time when suddenly Robredo overtook him in the race. They have been insisting that they were cheated, which led to their electoral protest that lasted for 5 years. But critics are pointing out to the Supreme Court junking his poll protest. That's why this time the Marcos camp wants to be really sure, and they're urging their supporters to be more vigilant since the official canvassing of votes has yet to start.
Hindi pa tapos ang bilangan. Marami nang nagsasabi na tapos na, pero hindi pa talaga. Antayin natin hanggang talagang maliwanag, mag-100% ang pagbilang. Hanggat tayo'y mag-celebrate o mag-isip na tapos na.
The Marcos camp isn't saying where he is right now or what his plans are. Until now, we're just outside of the campaign headquarters. The Marcos camp says there's no more possible press conference tonight. As you can see, some supporters are just staying outside the campaign headquarters beside the southbound lane of EDSA. Some supporters are urging motorists to show their support by honking their horns. Others are dancing and singing songs related to the Marcos campaign, like the OPM classic Umagang Kay Ganda, which is often played right before Marcos speaks in campaign rallies, or Ang Bagong Lipunan, which is the anthem of the martial law era. We spoke to some supporters of BBM who went here. Some are loyalists since his father's regime. Others, meanwhile, were once anti-Marcos. One said she was enlightened through modern sources of information.
Sinabi naman ng mga professor ko, di naman totoo. Kasi wala naman nagpapatunayan na guilty si Marcos, di ba? Siyempre, nag-research ako sa YouTube.
Huwag niyo sasabihin na magnanako ang Marcos. Kasi ang Marcos maraming pera mula noon.
critics have been pointing out there are court decisions that prove otherwise. The camp, meanwhile, also welcomes the COMELEC and Bank's decision to dismiss all motions for reconsideration on the disqualification cases against Marcos. Rodriguez says they always believe the poll body will stay true to its mandate. For the anti-BBM parties, there's no giving up yet until they exhaust all legal remedies. Back to you, Pia.
Rex, just one question. No indications yet as to cabinet appointments, especially, and this is something that Edwin Lachard and I were talking about earlier, the very crucial economic team.
So far, none at all. We've asked them many times about it, but he's really mum about it. Although he said that he's willing to work with anyone just to be stay in line with their value of unity. Although at some point he also mentioned that he also prefers to work with someone whom he has a working experience in the past. Iya.
Rex Remito there reporting from the Marcos campaign headquarters in Mandaluyong. Don't go anywhere after this break. This is Politics as Usual.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
We're on our final stretch. Here to give us his election assessment and outlook is political analyst Richard Heydarian, which he had been doing since last night. He was with us here in the studio last night, but he joined us now via Zoom. Hi, Richard. Hello. How are you?
I just I'm still processing things. Been,
You're still processing
long
things.
Hours.
Processing things. You mean it's still sinking into you now?
Not at all.
No.
I'm done with the
You're done.
sinking in part. It's more like processing information with all of the interviews and all we have been doing over the past 48 hours.
Okay, yeah, I was about to also introduce you as Richard Heydarian, the half Ilocano who was almost born on Marcos Highway.
I think I got a little bit of flack on Twitter. It's like, we don't care if you're happy. I just had to say, you know, I mean, I told already on Manpur, I was born almost in Marcos Highway. Just some trivia, just in case people are interested.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're interested in this. Just, Edwin Lachard was here a while ago. I was also speaking to the chair of PPCRV, Myla Villanueva. Napag-usapan yung patterns, variants. Now, this has been going around social media since last night. The Lenny supporters saying that, this probably proves that something went wrong. So Myla addressed that issue, and she said that she had invited math experts from different universities, and so far, as of tonight, they have not found anything. What does this mean to you?
Right. Again, I'm also not very surprised with that. We have seen this, let's say, strategy of denialism for quite some time. We saw that with the bashing of the surveys, including very authoritative surveys, which were consistently correct and spot on almost throughout the elections. We have seen all sorts of alternative indicators, including Google Trends being used, something which is laughable to anyone who has basic idea of how these things work. I mean, interest levels, you can manipulate that. Interest level has nothing to do with voter preference. I've been hearing this, so we're just seeing the latest version of the same denialism. I don't even know if it's a strategy anymore. I think this is just some sort of emotional outburst by people who do not want to see the facts. I mean, you and I, Pia, we have been mentioning the facts on the ground. I've been saying, where are the adults? Because, you know, if you're an adult, you're going to come out and say, you see, maybe we won, maybe we lost. This is the lay of the land. We want to move forward, whether winner or loser. You want to move forward based on verified data and facts and reasonable indicators. And you can pull some mathematician or statistician, whatever, here and there. Anyone can do that, right? But the point is that when you subject this to peer review, to the established consensus of experts, you're going to see a very different results. So now, I'm not surprised, it's the latest version we're seeing. Now, I think Vice President Lenny Robredo last night, you know, I broke that down live on a different channel while doing my tour last night. She came out and said it was not a concession speech per se, but she said we're going to respect the democratic process. At the same time, we want to get down to the bottom of any irregularities. I see no problem with that. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Respect the process as a whole. Look at possible irregularities. I think that was a mature speech by Lenny Robredo. I think she should set that example more and more so that we don't see this kind of preposterous alternative facts coming out here and there.
Okay, a few things, Richard. So tonight, Anja Arimari was reporting that Lenny spoke again in the Naga Cathedral, and she said, and we quote, you know, to accept the final results. That's what she said, and it was much clearer than early this morning, yung 2 o'clock in the morning speech niya. At the same time, you know, speaking of surveys, what we're seeing here is that, yes, the surveys were right, after all.
Yeah, I mean, they're very spot
Research, Lilo, every last one of them.
Yeah, I mean, except the Senate one, though, I mean, I think I don't think even Robin Padilla saw it coming, but I think more or less the surveys were spot on in terms of the gaps. I mean, it was almost a 1.5-way race, not even a 2-way race, because the ratio is 2-to-1 almost between the number 1 and number 2. And as I said, in fairness to Lenny, she was not against just Bongbong Marcos. She was against the unity tandem of Sara Duterte and Marcos. That's why it was always hard. And I always said, if you look at Pew Survey, World Value Survey, up to 60% of Filipinos fall into a category that we can call democratically ambivalent. Ang hanap po ng tao ay husay, competence, fire, decisiveness. Now, did the campaign of Lenny Robredo tap into that yearning? I'm not very sure about that. And I'm not saying this now. You can go through my tweet. I am sure, Pia, you have seen some of my tweets. I've been subtly telling different camps where they have been going wrong. I'm not attached to any camp. I have no color, right? Of course, I want more competent presidents than not, obviously, right?
Okay.
But I've been saying this. I've been sending these signals. It seems some people are trying to filter it out, whether for emotional reasons or they want to hurt the feelings of some strategists who are not doing their job or don't know what the hell they're doing.
All right. Richard Hidarian, political analyst. Thank you so much again, Richard. We'll be seeing you in the next few days, I'm sure. Salamat. Thank you for joining us. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or the family reunion or in Viber groups and risk digital warfare. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show. Your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you back here next Tuesday, 8 p.m.
Wow.